Most men don't talk about it, but you feel it. Every morning. That strange silence where something used to be. It's not just about desire. It's not about ego. It's about a quiet rhythm your body used to follow. And one day, it just didn't. No warning. No goodbye. Just gone. After 60, many men notice this shift. Here's something even doctors agree on. By age 60, around 60% of men report some form of erectile dysfunction. It doesn't always mean full loss, but many notice morning erections getting softer or missing entirely. You haven't changed. Not really. You still love deeply, still dream vividly, still want to feel alive. But your body, your trusted companion, isn't answering the call like it used to. So what's going on? Is it age, hormones, circulation? Is something broken or just forgotten? In this video, we'll go to the source. Not with pills or pressure, but with presence. I'll show you how 3 simple touch points can help restore what you thought was lost naturally, gently, and in just minutes a day. This isn't just about performance. It's about remembering who you are every morning. Let's begin. For years, Richard blamed it on age. He was 66, still walked his dog every morning, still laughed with his grandkids, still felt young in most ways. But each morning, he woke up to the same quiet. No rise, no signal, just stillness. So, like many men, he shrugged. Maybe this is just what happens, he told himself. Aging, after all, was the easy answer, the obvious one. But the truth is, age is just part of the story. And sometimes, it's not even the biggest part. Let's look a little deeper. Morning erections rely on 3 things working together: blood flow, nerve response, and muscle tone. As we get older, these 3 start to drift apart, like old friends who lose touch. Your blood vessels, they stiffen. Years of high blood pressure, sugar, or even just time wear them down. Your nerves, they don't fire like they used to. The signal that once traveled like a race car now moves more like a Sunday drive. And your pelvic floor muscles, they weaken quietly. Few men even know they exist, let alone train them. But that's not all. There are modern-day thieves too. Sitting too long, poor sleep, chronic stress, low testosterone, medications. Each one chips away at the chain. Richard had 3 of them. He sat for hours each day. He drank more at night, slept less, and he was quietly anxious about money, health, everything. It wasn't that he was broken. His body was just overwhelmed, disconnected. And once he saw that, he stopped blaming age. Instead, he got curious. That curiosity, that desire to reconnect became the turning point. Because when you know the true cause, you stop treating the wrong thing. And you start giving your body what it actually needs. So now the real question becomes, if pills and pumps don't fix disconnection, what does? Let's look at that next. Richard did what most men do. He looked for a fix. He tried pills. They helped, a little, but they felt artificial, like flipping on a light in an empty room. Then came the pump, awkward, cold. He hated how mechanical it felt. He even asked his doctor about testosterone, but his levels weren't low enough to qualify. So he left, feeling like the system had nothing for him. Here's the truth most men aren't told. Erections are not just about chemistry. They're about communication. Between nerves, between blood vessels, between brain and body. And when that communication breaks down, when the reflexes go quiet, no pill in the world can fix it. It's like trying to water a garden with a broken hose. More pressure doesn't help if the line is kinked. That's the missing link. Most treatments aim at the end result: more blood, more pressure, more performance. But they ignore the system that makes arousal possible in the first place. That system, the nervous system, is what tells your body when and how to respond. And as men age, it doesn't shut down, it just goes silent. Richard didn't need more force. He needed reconnection. He needed to remind his body how to feel, how to respond. Once he understood that, everything changed. He stopped chasing a reaction and started nurturing a relationship. Because a healthy erection isn't forced, it's invited. And your body still remembers how, if you know how to ask. So, how do we speak to the nervous system again? Not with force, but with precision, with intention, and with 3 points that almost no one talks about. Let's look at the first one. Richard's breakthrough didn't come in a clinic. It came one morning, in his own bedroom. He had read something odd the night before about how the nervous system can be retrained, not with medicine, but with touch. So, half out of hope, half out of curiosity, he placed his hand where his body once responded easily. And slowly, gently he pressed. What happened wasn't dramatic, no miracle. But there was a flicker, a warmth, a soft memory stirring in muscle and nerve. He didn't know it then, but he had just begun what we now call a morning reset. A simple way to speak directly to the systems behind arousal without force. You see, erections don't start with arousal, they start with communication. Your nervous system sends signals, your smooth muscle responds. Blood vessels open, muscles support. It's a chain reaction, but only if the first link fires. With age, that reflex gets sleepy, not broken, just quiet. And one of the fastest ways to reawaken it is through pressure point activation. Think of it like restarting Wi-Fi. You're not changing the signal, you're resetting the receiver. Through precise, deliberate touch, you remind your nerves how to listen and respond. You wake up blood flow. You re-engage muscle tone. You rebuild trust. That's what Richard was doing, not forcing his body, but inviting it. Touch became a conversation, one that got clearer every morning. And over time, the silence began to shift. Not just physically, but emotionally too. He felt more present, more connected, more himself. That's the power of a morning reset. And it begins with 3 specific points. The first one sits at the very base, the bridge between rest and response. Let's explore that now. The first point is where everything begins. A small groove, right at the base of your manhood, where the shaft meets the body. For years, Richard never gave it a second thought. It was just there. Until one morning, out of quiet curiosity, he touched it with intention. He felt a ridge, a slight dip, and when he applied slow, steady pressure, something stirred. Not fireworks, not instant change, but a signal, a pulse, a whisper from within that something was still alive. That groove isn't just skin, it's a control panel. Beneath it runs the dorsal nerve key to arousal and a branch of the pudendal artery, which feeds blood right into the chambers that matter. It's where nerves, blood flow, and memory meet. Richard had no medical training, but what he did have was patience. Each morning, after a warm shower, he'd sit quietly, thumb on the groove, fingers behind for support. Small circles, gentle pressure, just 90 seconds. Week 1, subtle warmth. Week 2, a flicker of fullness. By week 4, confidence returned, quietly, naturally. Not as a performance, but as a presence. It's what ancient Eastern traditions called a gateway point. Modern science confirms, stimulation here activates pelvic nerves and reflex zones in the spine. It's not magic. It's memory. The body remembering what it once did effortlessly. And the beauty? You don't need to force anything. This isn't about fixing, it's about listening. Richard stopped chasing results. He let sensation lead. He called it his morning checkpoint. Not a task, not a chore, just a pause, a reconnection. A moment to say, I still work, I still feel. He even began pairing it with slow breathing. And a quiet word of gratitude, not for performance, but for presence. Because here's the truth. What fades first after 60 isn't just function, it's attention. The ability to notice subtle signals. This point helps retrain that awareness. One more thing. It doesn't work by pressure alone. It works by presence, the kind that invites your body to respond, not react. So if you're trying it, go slow, no rush, no pressure. Let your body come back on its own terms. Now, once nerves are listening and blood is moving, there's another spot that makes all the difference. Just beneath the groove, tucked along the perineum, lies a point that doesn't just invite circulation, it helps hold it in place. That's where we're headed next. The perineum is the most overlooked powerhouse in a man's body. It's not the abs, not the biceps. It's the small, soft area between the scrotum and the anus. And yet, tucked within this quiet zone lies a switch, one that can restore flow, firmness, and confidence. James, a retired fireman, never thought much of it. He lifted weights, stayed active, ate well. But even with all that, his mornings had become silent. Until one day, during a physical therapy session, his therapist gently mentioned a phrase, bulbospongiosis muscle. Say that again? James chuckled. She smiled. It's a small pelvic muscle that helps you hold and release blood, and it runs right under your perineum. That word stayed with him, and so did a new ritual. Each morning, after brushing his teeth, he'd sit at the edge of his bed, 2 fingers placed gently at the midpoint between his scrotum and anus. No pushing, no poking, just slow, intentional circles clockwise, then counterclockwise. 1 minute, then a pause, then one more. He began to notice something. Not just a warmth or tingling, but control. A sense that his body was remembering what it once did without thinking. Why does this point matter? Because under the skin lies a mesh of muscles, bulbospongiosis and ischiocavernosus, that act like blood pumps. They don't create arousal. They hold it, sustain it. And when they weaken, even good blood flow can fade too soon. This is why many men try pills, get an initial result, but still feel unsatisfied. It's not just about getting flow, it's about holding it. And that power lives in the perineum. But here's the beauty. You don't need a gym, a device, or a prescription. You need breath, presence, and perhaps the simplest movement of all, the pelvic squeeze. James added a short routine after his massage. Breathe in. Gently contract the pelvic floor as if stopping a stream of urine. Hold for 2 seconds. Exhale. Relax. 3 rounds. That's it. It wasn't about force. It was about control, awareness, and kindness. Within a month, his confidence began to return. Not from performance, but from connection. He once told his grandson, who'd asked why Grandpa always sat so quietly in the morning, "I'm reminding my body that it still knows how to show up." That's the lesson. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about helping the body remember how it was built to thrive. And once you've strengthened the muscles that hold the flow, you're ready for the final layer, the part of you that rewires sensation itself. That's what we'll explore next. For years, Richard thought the problem was purely mechanical. He had tried the pills. They worked for a time, but something always felt off. as if his body was going through the motions without truly feeling anything. Then one day, during a quiet conversation at his men's wellness group, a retired therapist said something that stayed with him. Sometimes the signal is there, but the brain has stopped listening. The corona, the ridge around the head of the penis, is among the most sensitive areas of a man's body. It's not just skin. It's a sensory command center, packed with nerve endings that talk directly to the spinal cord and brain. But like any highway, when it's overused or strained, the signals begin to dull. This is especially true after 60. Years of friction, hormonal shifts, or emotional distance can desensitize this vital area. The good news? It can be retrained, but gently. That's where morning sensory reset comes in. Each morning, after perineum activation, Richard would apply a few drops of warm water-based gel to his fingertips. No cold oils, no rush, just warmth. He'd rest his fingers lightly along the corona, not rubbing, not pressing, just noticing. 30 seconds. Then a pause. Then again. He called it listening practice. At first, nothing. Then one day, he felt a soft pulse. Not arousal awareness. The key isn't stimulation, it's reconnection. Think of the corona like a tuning fork. If you strike it harshly, it goes out of tune. But if you approach it with calm consistency, it resonates again. Some men rush the process. Like Tom, he used an old massage device, thinking more vibration meant faster results. But it only irritated his nerves. What he missed is that the corona isn't a switch you flip, it's a relationship you rebuild. There's also something symbolic here. The corona is often where men first felt sensation in their youth, yet it's the first place we disconnect from when things stop working. The body doesn't forget, it just needs time to remember. A warm towel, dim light, and a few slow breaths. That's all it takes. Over weeks, as the nerves relearn how to respond, something else happens. Posture changes, breath deepens, and quiet confidence returns. Because when sensation returns, so does ownership. This isn't a fix, it's a homecoming. Richard once told me something simple but profound. The first time I truly felt something again, not down there, but in here, was during this practice. He pointed to his chest. That moment wasn't just about restoring sensation. It was about reclaiming his sense of being alive, of knowing that his body could still whisper back. He started walking taller, laughing more, holding longer eye contact with his wife. These weren't side effects, they were signals. That a man, even in his 70 seconds, could still grow forward. That's the real reward. Not a function, but a feeling. And once you feel that, you won't want to lose it again. Which brings us to the final piece, how to weave all of this into a simple, powerful morning ritual that anchors your day. Every morning, Tom used to grab his phone before he even got out of bed. A quick scroll through emails, a glance at the news, and suddenly, 20 minutes had passed. His day hadn't even begun, yet something already felt scattered. That was before the ritual. Now, Tom begins each morning with no screens, no noise, just breath, warmth, and a quiet reconnection. The ritual takes less than 7 minutes, but it's changed everything. Here's how it works. As soon as he wakes, Tom sits at the edge of his bed, feet grounded, hands resting lightly on his thighs. He takes 2 slow, full breaths, not forced, just enough to feel his belly rise. Then, he gently massages the bass groove 90 seconds of small, circular motion, using the pad of 2 fingers. Not to provoke, just to awaken. Next, the perineum. Using a warm towel, he applies light pressure for another 2 minutes. He breathes and imagines that inner switch turning back on. Finally, the corona. only after the body is calm and alert. With clean fingertips and a soft gel, he simply makes contact. No rubbing, no stimulation. Just attention. Another 2 minutes. Stillness. He ends with water, a short walk outside. The day feels different, more grounded, more alive. What makes this powerful isn't just the sequence, it's the spirit. Because this isn't a performance. It's not something you succeed at. It's a conversation between you and the part of your body that often gets ignored until it stops responding. And just like any meaningful conversation, it takes patience, listening, and consistency. Tom isn't chasing fireworks. He's nurturing embers, the kind that keep warmth alive long after others burn out. One of the biggest shifts happens not down there, but up here, in the mind, in the story you tell yourself about aging, about manhood, about what's still possible. This ritual isn't about reclaiming your youth. It's about reclaiming presence. And when men show up fully in their breath, their body, their being, everything changes. Posture, confidence. Some mornings, Tom says he doesn't feel like doing it. Maybe he slept poorly, maybe his back aches, or maybe the world just feels heavy. But that's when it matters. Because this ritual isn't just for the good days, it's for the days when you feel least connected to yourself. It's a reminder that you're still here, still capable, still worthy. There's something deeply masculine about that gentleness, about not forcing, but inviting, not fixing, but feeling. No supplement teaches that, no doctor prescribes it. You learn it by showing up, again and again, with hands, with breath. And over time, the results begin to echo beyond the morning. You feel more sensation, a stronger stream when you pee, a subtle confidence returning in how you stand, how you speak, how you look at your partner. People feel it, like something in you is rooted again, not the man you were, but the man you've become. So, tomorrow morning, before the rush or the screen, try this. Breathe, touch, listen, and see what awakens. Now it's your turn. If this message spoke to something real in you, if you felt seen or hopeful or just a little more connected, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment below. Tell us what resonated. Tell us where you're starting from. Or just say, I'm in. Share this video with a friend, a brother, or anyone who needs to feel reminded. It's never too late to feel fully alive again. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Men's Health Reborn. We're building a space for men like you, men who don't give up, who grow deeper with time, and who believe in healing the natural way. You're not alone. You're just getting started.